So today we'll be looking into three different things. So today we'll be looking into HTML elements, we'll be looking into HTML attributes, and at the same time we'll be looking into HTML image tag. So these are the three things we're going to be looking into this lecture, and I will try my best to make the lecture very short and very brief. So if you follow this lecture from the beginning, you know we've created a file called index.html. So it's still the same index.html we're still going to use for this same class today. So now, what are HTML elements? You can either call them HTML elements or you call them an HTML tag. These are the element or tag that you use in HTML to collect your data. For instance, you have a message to type or a text to type. You can decide which element you want to use. And in HTML, we have so many elements. We have a lot of them that I may not be able to mention everything. But you have to decide which element is better for you. And what are examples of elements? Elements is when you have a tag like h1, h2, h3, p tag. You have a strong tag, you have an I tag, you have a U tag, you have a div tag, you have a span tag. Those are tags you use, and you use each tag regarding your project or what you want them to do for you. But for this class now, let's start with h1, and h1 is called the header tag. H1 is called the header tag. So for instance, let's say I'm using this h1 to print a heading of my page. I say this is a heading test. This is a heading test. So now this test in h1 here will be the heading test. And now I want to use another tag which is also h1 tag also. But this time around I will not use h1, but I will use h4, and now we have the same text inside, and I will try to load this document in the browser, and let's see the difference between the h1 and the h4 we are using here. But before we do that, I will love to tell you the difference. When you are using h1, text in h1 is going to be bigger than text in h2, and like that you get to h6. So that is how they behave. The size, the boldness and the font size of text in h1 or h2 will going to be bigger than text in h3 and h4. So let's load this data in the browser, and let's see how the two texts will display in our browser. So here is h1 and here is h4. You can see the same text but different font size. So let's use another example of elements or tag in HTML. Let's make a p tag. And in that p tag, let's populate it with some text. Now we have a text inside here. This is a p tag, and we can go to our browser and let's see how this text display. You can see that the text here in this p tag is called a paragraph tag, is quite different from the heading tag. That's how we call this one the paragraph tag, and this one is a heading tag. Now let's make use of another tag again. We can have another tag which is a strong tag. Let's use a strong tag, and we can say this is a strong tag. And if we go back to our browser and let's see, you can see that the text in here is bold. Also is bold. So it's a strong tag. Any text or any text that comes inside the strong tag will be bold. And we can use another one again. We can use an I tag, which is the italic tag. We can say this is an italic tag. So text in the italic is just the same thing as your italic form. Text in the italic tag will be slant. It's not going to stand up straight. The text inside it will be slant. So let's look into it. You can see this is it here, is slant. So we have so many elements which you can check this video description. You may see it, or you visit our website. It's going to be available there. So the next thing we are going into now is HTML attributes. So now let's look at attributes. Well, for this class now, I will make a div tag. And inside the div tag, I can just populate it with some text. And inside here now, I want to give this div tag an attribute. And attribute can be so many things. Attribute is an information that differentiates your tag from another tag, and that give your tag some kind of unique behavior or attribute. Yes, because for instance now, let's assume I have 5 div tag available in my page here, and I want the div tag to be different from each other, just in case maybe I'm styling them, or I'm writing some JavaScript code to them. So, and I want them to be different from each other. So how can I do that? And in order for me to do that now, I need to give it an attribute that will differentiate this div tag from the other div tag. For instance, I can give an attribute of class name, and I can call the class name anything. You can call it anything. I can call it div1. Or I can give it an attribute of anything. I can give it an attribute of style. And I can say this style, let's say color should be, let color be red. So what this one means that I'm changing the color of text inside this tag here. This star here serves as an attribute. This one here serves as an attribute also. So that is how you can see now attributes makes this text to be red. And I can have another div tag. In this page again. And I can have the same text inside. And if I go back to my browser, and you can see the two texts, they are different. One is red and one is black. Why is this so? Because we've given this one an attribute of style. So meaning that any attribute that comes inside a div or a tag will only affect that particular tag or that particular element. So that is why this one is red and this one is black. So that is attribute. And the next thing here we want to use again is the image tag. How can you import image into your workspace or into your file or your document? Well, right about now I don't have any image available in my system here, but we're going to do a walkthrough of that. But for the first thing to do in order for you to import image into your system is make an image tag. Follow the example carefully. Make an image tag src. This is the attribute you will use to import image into your document. And the next thing is alt, and the alt, this one is this attribute here. This particular attribute is not that necessary, but you use it just in case if the src fail, this one will still run. So now let's look at it. Image, and let's close this image tag. And if we go back to our browser, now this is the image. The image is supposed to run here, but the image is not running. Why? Because there's no image attached to that file. But instead of it to be blank, we have that image that we give to that alt. That is why we have that here. So now how can we import image into our system or into our file in HTML? To do that, navigate to the folder where your image is being stored. For instance, my image is stored inside image tag, and image tag and view tag, they are in different directory, but they are together in the same sub folder. So now to do that, now I will go two step backward, and I will have access to my image tag. And if there's any image available in my image tag, I can make use of them immediately. So now let me look into my file here. So I can choose this and this. I want to do a drag and drop. Format here. So I've selected these two. So I will do a drag and drop into my image folder. So good. I've done the drag and drop into my image folder. Now I will go there again. Now I have image available in my image folder. So now we'll go back to my browser, and boom, here is it. Now we have image available in our browser. So that is how you import image into your HTML file, and you make use of attributes, and at the same time know how to make use of some different HTML tag and know the time to make use of them. So in the next video, we're going to dive in deeper into HTML properly. Thank you guys for your time, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.